Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. I'm Eric Bass, co-founder of Sandglass Theatre in Putney, and Rob Mermin and I have worked together many times over many years. Rob is probably most famous in the state of Vermont as the founder of Circus Smirkus, the fantastic young people's circus and circus camp, which I hope many of you have seen over the years. They've performed in their tent in the Brattleboro area for many, many years. Rob is a mime and a clown. He trained in Europe with the great Marcel Marceau. Some of you may know that name. One of Rob's most recent claims to fame is that he and I disagree whether it was in 2008 or 2009 that Rob got the Governor's Award for Excellence in the Arts. And being a clown, of course, he managed to propose a toast while he was standing directly in front of Governor Douglas and Alex Aldrich, the head of the Arts Council, and he managed to throw the entire glass of water on both the governor and Alex. So be on your guards. Because who knows what might happen. Rob's worked with Sandglass. We collaborated writing and directing a piece called Between Sand and Stars, which was a collaboration between puppets and circus. And Ines, who's sitting here, co-founder of Sandglass, has also worked collaborating with Rob on Circus Smirkus productions. And it is now my great privilege to share Rob Mermin with you. And here he is. Oh, and Russ is filming this for BCTV. And
television.
And James Cumming, who's put this all together, wants me to remind you that this is the 4th out of 5 speakers on Parkinson's that will be at these brown bag lunches. And I'm sure the schedule is easily available. Yeah. So thank you very much. Here's Rob Mermin.
Thank you, Eric. I wish I had a glass of water.
I can get you one.
All right, hi folks. Let me jump right into this. About 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and my first reaction was curiosity. Oh, well, that would explain a few things. I was having trouble with my left hand, basically. There was some tremor in my left hand, but I couldn't keep rhythm with my left hand as my right hand was doing. When I'm shampooing my hair, you know, you shampoo with 2 hands and it goes all over the place. This hand was nice, rubbing. This hand couldn't quite keep up with this hand. And then, so I picked up 3 juggling balls and started to whoosh, whoosh. The left hand wasn't quite throwing it as well as the right hand. So those were my first symptoms. And then I also recognized that when I'm walking, my left arm wasn't swinging as much as the right arm until I thought about it. When I think about it, then I could correct it. So my neurologist, when he was testing me, some of you have Parkinson's out there in the audience?
Right.
Yeah. So you know when the doctor's testing you, he tests your reflexes, how you're doing with rhythm, follow the finger, touch your nose. Of course, being a clown, he said, touch your nose. I went, stuff like that. But anyway, he said he thought I was one jump ahead of the game because of my training in mime specifically. Because I was telling him how I was aware of certain movements that I wasn't doing well until I concentrated on doing it right, and then I could do it. So for example, in mime, well, let me say this. I've started to teach a class for people with Parkinson's, a class in mime and circus. started this past fall, once a week, and we've been continuing it with the idea of exploring what kind of different movement methods could help either tamp down or slow down or alleviate some of the symptoms. I was taking dance for Parkinson's class and the big program where you're making big gestures, and that was all good stuff. But then I thought, in mime, we have to visualize clearly what we're going to portray for the audience. So, and you make one movement at a time. If I was reaching for a glass, I wouldn't just reach for it this way. My elbow would go out in the opposite direction, then my wrist, and the elbow would come, and the wrist would come in, touch the glass, shape it, pick it up, with the elbow up instead of down to make it more visible and use that part of the body. Put it down and let go of it in the same way, the elbow, wrist, hand. So I would have to visualize first doing that action before doing it, and then do it. And I would be breaking down or analyzing the movements of the body as I'm doing that. So in Parkinson's, either we're hyper aware of the movements that we're making, or we're completely unaware, right, of how we're not moving right until somebody corrects us. I noticed a lot that if I'm sitting here reading a book or, you know, having breakfast or something like this, that my posture starts to get stupid, right? So, yeah, I'm able to correct myself. One of the people in my class said he had no idea. He was walking around like this, and he had no idea that his posture was bad until he stopped in front of a mirror. And even then, he wouldn't know how to correct himself. So in the class, whenever I see somebody with bad posture, or if they see me, you know, we just touch our chin. That's our signal to straighten up. The other interesting thing about doing mime is that it takes a certain amount of concentration to make each gesture. So here's the definition. As I was doing my research into Parkinson's, I came across a really nice term called kinesia paradoxa. I thought, first, well, of course, I immediately thought, a pair of ducks. But I like the word paradox, so I thought, what is this? So I started researching this not so well known idea of kinesia paradoxica, paradoxical kinesia. That's when someone who has a movement disorder can suddenly and surprisingly move smoothly from some kind of stimulus. For, you know, an extreme example might be a concert pianist who might have tremors and can't control his hands, but sit him down in front of a piano, here he goes. So I was very curious about this and how my training in mime might be able to stimulate this kinesia paradoxa. So I was talking with my neurologist about that, and he said, yeah, he didn't know much about it. Neurologists don't really know so much. It hasn't been explored fully. It's a kind of a puzzling phenomenon. So I started writing up about this kinesia paradoxa as much as I could find out, and come up with some ideas for exploring how to do that using mime techniques and circus techniques. The circus is about manipulation of objects through space, you know, which is juggling. You don't have to be juggling 3 or 4 or 5 objects in the air, you just need one. And that one object is something that you have to manipulate with your hands. So finger exercises, hand exercises. So I'm teaching the class to do basic juggling and certain tricks and having a lot of fun. But anyway, my neurologist, he said, Rob, this all sounds very good, what you wrote here. You know, pantomime techniques including visualization, breath control, body language, nonverbal communication, rhythm, articulation of gesture, creative imagery, use of space, all this kind of stuff. And he said, let me write up in doctor's terminology what this paradoxical kinesia might be. And I'm calling it PKI, the paradoxical kinesia impulse.
Yeah.
So I just thought this is kind of fun. I'm learning the lingo. So this is my neurologist. He says, this is a neurological description of the paradoxical kinesia impulse. Cortico-subcortical motor circuit dysfunction impairs action selection sequencing and scaling of movements, as well as motivational aspects of motor function, all difficulties for patients living with Parkinson's. Got it? In our project, he's monitoring what I'm doing with my class. He says, our project explores how the modulation of neuroplasticity by mime circus techniques may facilitate the understanding of the dysfunctional cortico-subcortical loops and thus override frozen circuits and turn on the dormant systems relating to new methods of addressing deficits in voluntary movement and how to ignite the skilled movement response related to paradoxical kinesia and limb kinetic apraxia, another common basal ganglia disorder of skilled purposeful movement that can be associated with PD. That's great stuff.
Big bucks.
Huh?
That's
So-
how they make the big bucks, he said.
Yeah. Well, he's now retired, but so he's plenty of time to write these kinds of things. I should memorize that paragraph. It will sound impressive to my students. So anyway, in the class that I'm working with, this is in Montpelier, which is where I live. We've started to create some design movements, which my teachers, Marcel Marceau, he would refer to them as sort of like a dance choreography, where we're making a little number that has exact movements that you follow with rhythm and coordination and breathing for each gesture. And so we started to make up some little design movements and exploring also with them doing some improvs. One of the improvs we did was, okay, get into pairs, and one of you is the doctor and the other is yourself the day you receive the diagnosis. And it was interesting to see the kinds of things they came up with. And then we're exploring what is or was your profession. One was an archaeologist, one was a writer, so we took actions from these professions and turned them into a kind of a number. Like the archaeologist, I said, what's an action for that? So he goes like this. Okay, so that's an action we'll use, and we'll make that bigger. And, so we started to create some nice design movements. In sports, a lot of the PD patients were on a bowling team. So I said, well, how could we create a bowling movement? And so they said, well, we hold the ball and we're looking down the aisle, down the alley at the pins down there. So what came out of that was, if I remember, okay, we're going to take 4 steps. You're holding the ball, you're looking down the alleyway. If you're holding it in your right hand, take a step with your right foot. 1, 2, and 3. The ball goes back, the other arm goes forward, and on 4, you throw the ball, and this arm has to go back to have contrast. And then they were going, and so we put that together. We had all kinds of sports. There was baseball, which was really interesting for balance. You know, how a pitcher would be looking at first base. And the idea of swinging the arms again, because they'd be swinging this much, and we have to swing it bigger to make the big movements. And then, can they balance on one foot as they're throwing the ball? And so we put together all kinds of sports, bowling, and swimming, and that kind of thing, and making some nice design movements out of it. In fact, let's do one all together. This is one we sometimes do at the beginning of a class because it's kind of mellow and sweet. It's about, we call it creation. So we're creating the universe with our hands, basically. And different images. So I'll show you what the images are so you could do it with me, then I'll put on the music and we'll do the whole thing together. And it's for, it's a kind of a meditative thing. It's also for getting the hand movements doing things. It's also for breathing with the gestures. And they kind of liked this number and they started adding things to it. So the first thing we're doing, you know, we're sitting near the front of the chair and we're gathering energy from the cosmos. And the way we're doing that is pulling up energy this way and breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. So again, that's the gathering up of the energy with the breath. And we'll be doing that slowly. And then we go into the earth floating through space. And from the earth, we go into the waters. So one hand above the other, we're doing the waves, waters of the planet. So this is, and we would add a rhythm to that, like elbow, whoosh, and slow, whoosh. So from the water, we went into snakes. Parallel, and then snakes going in and out. From snakes, we went into fish. That's right, fish. From fish, we went into turtle. One hand on top of the other, thumbs out, and the turtle swimming up and through the water. Swimming up and down. From that, we went into birds, crossing your wrists. Just flutter, making circles in the air like a figure eight. And then an eagle. From the eagle, we went into butterflies, the OK sign. This was easy for some of the Parkinson's folks with tremors. From that, we went into butterflies, I think a tree growing. Marcel Marceau did a number called The Creation of the World with some of these images. And the branches, then the branches swaying in a storm, so we're getting the wastes going. And then one leaf falls, the other leaf falls all the way down to the floor, bending over, and then coming up, the hands coming up in front of the waist straightens up, then the chest straightens up, comes in front of the head, and it creates humanity with a prayer going up to heaven. And then we gather the energy again, the way we did in the beginning. Oh yeah, and then we have an ending. And the ending, the heart. Boom, 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 boom. Take the heart out. Hands go up. And we're done. Okay, shall we do it? I'll put on some music. Let's see. Okay. Whoops. There we go. All right. And think about your breath as we're doing this. Let's see if I can get the speaker on. Okay. Bring in the energy. Breathe in. Out. Breathe in. Again. There are some other things we added to that. You know, the music stretched out, we added some other animals, but that's a short version. And they like doing this because it put them in a different frame of mind. ready for doing some exercises, and got a lot of fun with that. Then, any questions so far? We'll have a discussion and questions after we do some more stuff. Another thing we did was conducting, where you become the conductor of an orchestra. And I handed out chopsticks to everybody. We started playing with the chopsticks for manipulation of the fingers and the hands. So I laid out some pom-poms, little pom-poms. Big ones first on the table, and then little ones, and then beads. So they all sat around the table and, learning to use the chopsticks better. And they were picking up these pom-poms, putting them in bowls, and they were doing pretty well. One hand and then the other hand. And then we took the chopsticks and they became batons, and we directed the orchestra. So what this was for rhythm, for using the hands and the arms and expression, and also for concentrating on the music. And we found that when Parkinson's folks concentrate on something, often we can move better with it. And so what I did, I put together a little medley of tunes with, we've got 2/4 time. So you're all going to do this with me. So imagine you have a baton. Or no baton. Leonard Bernstein didn't use one. When he was 19 years old studying conducting, his teachers tried to get him to use a baton, and he refused because he had seen some Russian conductor without a baton, and the hands became more expressive. So that's why Lenny doesn't use a baton. So 2/4 time. It's coming down, out from your body, and swoops up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1 and 2. 3/4 time looks like a boot. Basically, is making a triangle. 1, and then out from your body. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But then adding little curves to it. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. 4/4 time. We're getting a little nicer here. Let's see. So this is 1, 2, and the 2 comes into your body. So 1, 2, and then out 3, swoop up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right? So I'll put out some music, and you get lost in the music. I'll be directing with you, but don't follow me. Do your own. We'll get to these 3 things and a variety.
I think it's easier to stand than...
If you want to stand, all the better. Pretend there's an orchestra. Now, if you get lost with any of these things, don't worry. Make up your own. I started to make up some designs here. Here's a 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. And this was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, spiraling up. Figure 8, or the infinity sign. If you get lost, do the infinity sign, because that could be anything. It could be 1, 2, 1, 2. It could be 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 1. It could be 4/4 time. So if you get lost doing anything, just get your hands doing the infinity sign. And then when you go home, make up your own doodles and direct to that. So again, it's using space, and sometimes small movements, sometimes bigger movements, and then see if you can get, sometimes, like Lenny would do, he'd be conducting with this hand, keeping the rhythm, while his other hand did something else. Whatever it was, direct, pointing to the musicians or something. That's a little trickier. Here's an exercise to warm up for that. Put one index finger up in the air and make a triangle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. All right, the other finger, make a square. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and stop. Oh yeah. Triangle here and a square here. Go for it. I know how to do it. Look at your own triangle and square. See what you can do.
I'm going to do a circle.
Yeah, it looks like some spirals here. Looks like some of this. One way to think about it, okay, here's two ways. One is to just do single movements, one here and then one here, one here, one here, one here, or to do different rhythms. Now the triangle go sort of, say, fast, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, as the square is going steady and slow. That's another different way. And it uses your brain in different ways along with emotion, and neurologists say that's key. So a lot of this focus on games, circus games, and conducting has to do with using your brain to associate with the rhythm of the music as you're also using your body to make designs from space. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, well, I'll hold this up. Or, can you see it if it's on the chair? Well, yeah.
I volunteer to hold it for you. Want a holder?
You want to hold it? Yeah. So you can go off on your own fantasy, but then once in a while, see what you can do here. And if you want to stand, go for that too.
You have to come back. Do a triangle on one hand and a square on the other at the same time.
Oh, it doesn't want to play. It's not connected to your Wi-Fi. This one here. Let's see. Might start here. All right, let me try another one.
Look at that triangle and square.
All right, let's see. No? Well.
I guess we're going to have to sing as well.
Yeah, okay, it's trying to download some of the music. Okay, well, we'll see if it downloads. Or is there a Wi-Fi connection here? Anybody know of?
Oh, it's good.
You could ask. I'll go ask.
Can you ask? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let me, I do have some handouts that I'll give you all at the end. One of the handouts are these designs, so you can take them home, put on your favorite music, dance around naked, conducting, stuff like that. Some of the other things we do in the class, and I structured the class so that we do some warm-up exercises, we do some mime technique, and then we do some circus games and magic tricks for manipulation. Some of the other mime techniques, and it's hard for Parkinson's folks or anybody to. Let's all pull a string together. Here's how we do it: one hand underneath, with the fingers holding the string, one hand above. So you just pull the string in front of you, trying to keep your hands equidistant. Let go with the overhand. Let go with the underhand, comes under, and pull. Overhand, grabs the string, underhand, and pull. So you can focus on that string. Really imagine that you got a string here. Let's do it up and down. So you're pulling down, stop. The bottom hand lets go and goes to the top, and pull. Bottom hand to the top, and pull. Then it pulls you up. Pull it down. Nice. You know, and the mime wall, you know, that illusion is something that related to Parkinson's as well. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Here's how you do that. Put one hand on the wall, your fingers go flat. Look at another spot on the wall, flat. Take your hand off the wall, fingers go curve, move it to some other spot, flat. Other hand, curve, flat. Yeah, that's looking good. And then fixed point, fixed in space, where the hands are stuck in space on the wall. The hands don't move, but the body does. Starts to create the illusion. The hands don't move, but the body does. Now that's a little tricky for Parkinson's folks too, right? Now, I was showing the class the wall, and we were doing fixed point with the hands, and one of the guys who had Parkinson's for 15 years said he would freeze going through a doorway, which is a common symptom. I mean, some of the symptoms are tremor, there's the shuffling walk, right? There's freezing, where you want to move, but the signals don't go from the brain to the body. The body just won't move. And that's again where the paradoxikinesia comes in, I think, is that when suddenly you can move, you're bypassing the destroyed circuit and using a different pathway. So why can't we stimulate that alternate pathway on purpose? Anyway, so he said he would come to a doorway and he couldn't get through it. He would either, as he's approaching the doorway, he would throw his keys through the doorway. Then he has to go get his keys. But then he said he would have to wait for somebody to come along, put their foot on the other side of the doorway, and he would step over the foot. So it requires stimulation from the outside to get the movement going. So I said, how about a mime door? So he was great at that. He was coming to a doorway, and he mimes this door with a handle, and he walks right through the doorway. So perfect use of some mime there. So that encouraged me to think, oh, did we get it?
Yes. So River Garden is the site, and then the password is River Garden 2017. Now it's capitalized River and Garden there on the sign there, so I don't know if you need to be capitalized or not.
Okay, so it's River Garden, there it is.
Yeah.
Password was
River Garden 2017, and it's capitalized River and Garden, if that matters, I don't know.
all capitals?
No, just the first letter is capitalized.
River Garden 2000.
17, yeah. Yeah, River Garden is all one, there's no space in between. So I'm just assuming it's safe to do it exactly as it is there, right? See what happens, yeah.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
No, it's the end of the road.
Oh, cool.
Like they're marching and music is just beautiful.
Okay,
Cool. Great.
How did they act?
all right. Then we started doing some tricks, magic tricks, so everybody got a rope, and I was teaching them the world's fastest one-handed knot. And they were getting into this again because they started concentrating on what they were doing, how to hold the rope. You know, if they had a tremor, they were controlling it. And they would go, world's fastest knot, ladies and gentlemen. And then pulling it, they like this one, pulling a rope through the neck. So they would go home and show that to their spouses. One guy came and said, the caregiver wasn't sure, you know, when I started You know, another way is to tie it. She said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" She said, "I don't know, I don't know." So anyway, they're having fun with that. And again, it's a matter of focus, and it helps. It helps. Okay, where's my holder? We'll conduct me. Just a few minutes. So it's a medley. It's going to switch. This could be 2 or 4. I think it works well with 4. Get 2 hands working equally. About a 2-4 time. Four. Or it could be waves. Try figure 8. And then back to that. Breathe. The power of a conductor.
Sometimes you're dropping.
1 3/4 time. It's a triangle, basically. Do it with your odd hand. Which is this? 2/4 or 4/4.
Infinity.
This is good on the upbeat.
You got the accent.
4/4.
Your way to positive.
Or 2/4. Make the upbeat accented.
To the affirmative. Don't
2/4
miss the
time.
mystery in between.
4/4. Again, accent the upbeat. 2/4. Big arms to the side.
Goodbye.
2/4.
Tootsie, don't cry.
How about a little?
The choo-choo train that takes me away from you. No one can
Big
tell how
arms.
sad it makes me. Kiss me, goody, and then at exits March the 2nd.
4/4.
By all the summer lingers through September in Camelot.
3.
Camelot.
3.
Camelot. I know it sounds a bit bizarre.
There's no business like show business, like no business like
2/4.
Everything about it is a feeling. Everything the traffic will allow.
Look
at me.
4/4, languid movements.
I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree, and I feel like I'm clinging to a cloud I can't understand. I get misty just holding your hand. Gee, it's great after being out late,
2/4,
walking my baby back home. Arm in arm over meadow and farm, walking my baby back home.
Look at the
We
sides
go long harmonize.
2/4. Here we go.
How do you keep people from dancing and things like that?
How to keep them from dancing?
Yeah.
You should.
That's good aerobic.
When will this be on TV?
Any questions?
Channel 8, BCTV. 2 weeks.
We have another 5 minutes or so, or right, or what?
You're gonna come down here,
10 minutes.
you're gonna come down here and do a class.
I would love to come down and do a class here if we had, people who want to sign up for that.
How many people you need?
It'd be nice to have at least 8, because then we could be doing things together. 8 or more, how about that?
Do you do it once a week in Montpelier or 2?
Once a week in Montpelier, we're doing it on Saturday mornings at the senior center. Because the senior center is closed, so we have the whole place to, so that's nice. We would just need a room.
And how long do you do it for? When you're,
We do 10-week sessions.
for an hour?
For an hour and a half. 90 minutes or 2 hours if I came down, that's it. But if somebody, maybe James, if you could organize a group, let me know.
Let me know if you want to.
Because I would like to, I'm going to be writing up some of these things that we're doing and things that work, and try to take it around to different groups and seeing how we do with it. Other questions?
Would you do a little mime for us?
I have been.
Yeah, I saw him playing some.
But we were concentrating.
Good. No, I have one more thing for you. It's not mime, but it's fun. And before I forget, there are some handouts. Let me get these out here. And it's a form of juggling. I call it bagling. Produce bags. So go to the supermarket and get a lot of produce bags. Blow them up with little twisties. And so I'm teaching to juggle. With bean bags, they were having a hard time, but with these, no problem. So, if you could 3 in the air, 4 in the air. So, You can have a lot of fun with these things. Lightweight trash bags. You know, then you get that one floating way up there as you're juggling with 3 or 4 down here. You know, and so we would start doing exercises with these as well. You know, throwing them behind your back, so you're getting that motion. All kinds of techniques using these bags. But I thought, you know, just so you get a sense of tossing around. One technique is to grab it and you flip the wrist. It's a flip, which sends it high. Flip the wrist, grab it and flip the wrist. Try to keep 2 in the air.
You gotta get this on film. We're trying to be a fun plastic bag state or town.
Okay, who wants to try 3 up here? Anybody want to try 2 or 3?
Chance for stardom.
Come on up.
Oh, go for it. Good job.
Here's one.
All right, cat.
There's another couple. So start with 2. Get 2 going. Yep, it's a catch and flip. It's a good workout too. I keep several of these in my living room.
I think there's a trick with me.
Just to flip them high as you can.
So you want to flip it?
Catch them.
Wow, this is called using a different part of the brain, huh?
Yeah, that's a good workout. We have a lot of fun with feet.
It's smart to introduce this at the end.
Okay.
A little bit like middle school.
Okay, class. Okay, kids.
Class over.
These, whoever wants, these are the conducting designs with those here. If you want, there's, what else have I got here? Oh, this is a sheet that lists some of the things we've been doing with Parkinson's, pantomime, and circus. Discussing what it is, discussing what paradoxical kinesia is, with the neurologist's statement on the back. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I would say thanks for coming, and if we could arrange a class down here, it'd be fun if we could come back down to Brattleboro.
I'll have to sign that sheet here, if anybody wants to sign it.
Thanks, everybody.